Welcome to our 3-part docuseries on the house that went silent. This is episode 2, The Diaries, The Voice from Beyond, The Ritual. Welcome to Rubberneck Nation, where we don't look away. We look deeper. Before the voices, before the ropes, the stools, the billfolds, there was a silence, a thick, aching silence that settled over Lalit Bhatia like fog after fire. But that silence hadn't always lived inside of him. Lalit was the youngest son in a tight-knit Indian household. Quiet by nature, steady in rhythm, he ran the family's plywood shop in Barori, just north of Delhi. He raised a son, prayed daily, followed rules, and rarely raised his voice. He was not a leader, not a prophet, just a man surviving middle-class life, perhaps like you and all of us, tucked inside the safety of structure and routine. Then came the break. In 2004, Lalit was attacked. 2 men entered the shop late one night. They beat him viciously, then set the shop on fire before disappearing into the night. He survived, but something in him disappeared. Soon after, Lalit lost his voice, not metaphorically, but literally. As one might imagine, his vocal cords were temporarily damaged due to smoke inhalation, but doctors confirmed there were no structural damage to his vocal cords, and yet the words refused to come. And while his family supported him, doctors were puzzled. But maybe they were looking in the wrong place, because sometimes silence isn't a symptom, it's a strategy. In the wake of trauma, Lalit may have discovered that muteness gave him protection. If he couldn't speak, he couldn't be questioned. He couldn't be made to relive the tragic event. He didn't have to explain the fear, the humiliation, the helplessness. And yet, for a man whose dignity had been stripped, whose whole role became small, there may have been only one way to return to power. Invent a voice so holy it could never be questioned.
Wake up, my son. I will guide you. You are not alone.
Lalit told his family he was being visited by his deceased father, not in dreams, not in memory, but in spirit. They called him Bhati Papa, the family patriarch, gone since 2007, but according to Lalit, now speaking through him. During evening prayers, Lalit would enter some type of trance, and in those moments, he broke silence. But it wasn't his voice anymore. It was Bhati Papa's. Lalit began writing, at first, spiritual reflections, brief notes, scribed insights, divine advice. But eventually, it became something more. And unbelievably, others in the family helped out. 2 of Lalit's nieces, Priyanka and Natu, became the primary scribes of the diary. All 11 of them, albeit directed by Lalit, not because they were chosen, but because they believed. They believed the voice was real. They believed it was sacred. And soon after, the entire family followed its every word, its every instruction. Nation, this is where the diaries began. 11 years of instructions, 11 years of discipline, 11 years of devotion. See, this story didn't happen overnight. It had been simmering for years. Writings carefully dated, color-coded in some places, soft and nurturing in tone in others, until it wasn't, until the words morphed into something entirely different. What started as healing became doctrine. What looked like structure became surveillance. And what sounded like guidance was perhaps merely a man trying to rebuild himself in the only way trauma would allow him to, by becoming someone else, by conjuring a voice no one could question, and stepping into the role of patriarch from behind the mask of a ghost. And through it all, one voice carried on, not Lalit's, but the voice of Bati Papa. He said the voices came from beyond, from his father, Bobby Papa, and the family listened. And soon, others were helping. Two of Lalit's nieces, Priyanka and Natu, begins transcribing entries, but the voice, they belonged to the spirit, and the diaries wasn't casual anymore. They were spiritual instructions delivered daily, meticulously dated, color-coded in places, ritualized over time. At first, they offered comfort.
You are doing well. Continue your prayers. You will be protected. Bare Papa is proud of you. The family is strong when you stay united. Obedience brings peace. Fear not, my child.
But slowly, the voice changed, and the presence was undeniable. The messages turned sharper.
Don't speak of your troubles outside. God sees everything. If you make a mistake, you must record it and correct yourself. Your behavior affects the family's future. Focus, stay pure.
The diaries tracked everything. How long you prayed, where your thoughts drifted, whether you were focused or distracted.
Write down where your mind wandered. Reflection brings clarity. Lack of reflection brings punishment.
And some entries gave praise.
Neetu has improved. Priyanka is showing discipline. Bare Papa is pleased. Others served warnings. Your devotion is weak. If you don't change, misfortune will enter the house.
There were even physical signs explained through the voice of Bobby Papa.
If the water turns yellow during meditation, it means Bare Papa is present. Do not question the wind or noise you hear during prayers. It is not fear, it is presence.
And when doubt crept in,
never question the voice. To doubt is to fall. To follow is to rise. Do not ask why. Ask how better to obey.
Nation, this wasn't a prayer journal. It was an instructional blueprint, a new moral order, one built on obedience, repetition, and fear of disappointing a voice from beyond. The family wasn't just living, they were rehearsing. And whether they realized it or not, every page was another step towards something irreversible. 11 years of pages, 11 people gone. But the voice, it never stopped. It wrote until it didn't have anything else to write. Every decision filtered through Baba Papa, every fear soothed only through a script, every ritual tracked on paper. The house became a temple, and the temple became a cage. And the silence, it wasn't emptiness, it was disciplined. And by 2018, they were not just a family anymore. They were a system, a mechanism. Every moment planned, every doubt erased, every exit sealed by belief. And still, they surely believed that they'd be saved. It began with subtle practice.
Practice standing with your hands together. It is for your purification. Tie the cloth gently. It is not for silence. It is for surrender. Use stools. You will feel the earth beneath your feet.
Nation, this was not a metaphor. They were test runs. The diary began to assign roles. Who would bind? Who would assist? Who would go first? One entry read,
Keep your eyes closed. The time has come. Don't open them even if the earth trembles. Trust me, like the roots of a banyan tree, Bari Papa will come. He will rescue you.
The banyan tree is as sacred in Hinduism, a symbol of life, immortality, shelter, and wisdom. They weren't planning to leave. They were preparing to evolve. To outsiders, this sounds unthinkable. But from the inside of that belief system, it sounded like salvation. And the final instructions came just before the end.
Do not speak to outsiders. This is the final phase. Do not be afraid. You will feel light. The ritual will cleanse all sins.
See, nation, it wasn't chaos. It wasn't panic. It was a countdown, a quiet march towards transcendence. And they followed it with the same calm obedience that shaped the last 11 years of their lives. What do you call a ritual disguised as a family routine? What do you call belief that never questioned the cost? The countdown has begun, and no one ever looked back.